We've all heard of Easter eggs on computer games and websites, but who'd have thought they'd had the humility to send one to Mars? Of course, I'm not talking about real Easter eggs made of chocolate. I'm talking about the little cheeky hidden treats that people eventually discover, like typing the Konami code into dig.com and various other things. First this week I want to talk about pie. No, not the foodstuff made legendary in the borough of Wigan, a local joke. I'm talking about pie of a particularly fruity variety, raspberry. Oh, and lose the E. This kind of pie isn't edible at all. This pie is the world's most affordable bit of computer hardware around. It's a tiny credit card sized circuit board that is in fact a very basic computer. I say basic, however it has 4 times the RAM of my first computer, but in modern terms that is a good approximation. This little guy has just 256 meg of RAM, a few USB ports for a keyboard and mouse, a couple of video outputs in the shape of a HDMI and a composite port, an SD card slot for its main OS memory, and a network card for, well, networking. It sells currently for around 25 bucks or about 30 quid if you're in the UK. It's made the news this week because it's finally secured a UK manufacturer, hopefully taking the ridiculous 11-week wait period down to just a couple of days. Once you've got your Pi, you can install a stripped back version of Linux that's downloadable from the Pi website and use it to build some nifty Python applications, as it comes with Python and the GCC compiler collection. The idea behind Pi is to rekindle the world's love with homebrew coding and computer science by making computer hardware more affordable. The Pi Foundation took action after finding that a number of computer hobbyists applying for courses in schools and colleges had dropped exponentially over the past 20 years. The kind of people who go for computer science courses these days only have experience with Word and Excel, not the homebrew game coding that they used to back in the 90s. And the Pi Foundation are trying to change that. Their success shows with the interesting projects that its takers have managed to come up with. Amongst the most interesting is the 7-year-old kid who's written a game on his from scratch. He's 7 years old. Another more artsy project is the resurrected 1940s TV that plays a selection of TV shows from a USB hard drive. And the most interesting project for me is the Pi synthesizer, created by Pi forum user Omini. He's made an analog synth that's got the Pi at its core, called Piana. There's a link to that video in the description. Sticking with the technology theme this week, I want to show you a rather creepy robot that Boston Dynamics have created that can run faster than Usain Bolt. This clumsy looking and goddamn scary robot can run a whopping 28.3 miles per hour, topping Bolt's record of 27.7. Although it's a great achievement for them, I'm sure it's a little worrying for us, as it's being funded by DARPA, so it's obviously a defence project. I certainly wouldn't like this thing chasing me anywhere. I can't run 10 miles an hour, let alone 30. I don't reckon it'd handle stairs very well though. A Robocop versus Ed 209 manoeuvre may be involved. Like Noel Sharkey points out, the Professor of Artificial Intelligence at University of Sheffield, it wouldn't be able to distinguish between just civilians and soldiers, so it would just plough through towns and cities butchering everyone, well, until this happens. Anyway, enough about creepy cheetah-based robots, let's talk about something a little more harmless. It's time for your weekly curiosity update. The rover, photographed here by one of the Mars orbiters, has started making some progress. In the whole month it's been there, it's shuffled along a whole 112 metres. Now it's had a bit of a run, it's going to be testing out its robotic arm and all of its tools. It's going to be running through a range of motions predetermined when it was tested here on Earth, just to make sure that everything's in good working order before they send it on its way again. It may be a little concerning to some that the guys over at the Jet Propulsion Lab say that they need to do some practice scooping material into the rover. You'd think they might have tested that before they sent it across the solar system, but they reckon with a bit of practice they'll be just fine. Once they're sure that it's all working, they'll send it on its way again to a spot they're calling Glenelg, where there's a bit of a change in the rock. That's where it'll start drilling and trying to see what it can find. Then after it's finished up there, it'll move on to its main destination, the foot of Mount Sharp. So the Easter egg I was rambling on about before, the guys at NASA aren't all serious and scientific all the time, as you can probably tell by Mohawk guy here. They have sent Curiosity to Mars with a nifty little interplanetary graffiti device. Sort of. The tyres of Curiosity are imprinted with these little dots and dashes which you may recognise as Morse code, and you'd be correct. As the rover trundles along the Martian surface, it leaves the letters JPL printed into the sandy surface of the planet, short for Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Isn't that cool? If you'd like to find out some more about Curiosity, as always you can nip over to the NASA website, the link's in the description below. We'll also be covering its progress here on the weekly Deej on Science news shows, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss an episode. If you've got a burning science question you'd like us to answer, then please leave it in the comments below. Tweet it to me at Deej on Science on Twitter, or post it on the Facebook page. We've already had some good ones, so please keep them coming. That's all we've got time for. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.